Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Hutchinson City Council meeting for Tuesday, March 24th, 2026. We'll call the meeting to order. Approve the council agenda. Any agenda additions or corrections?
Mayor, Council, I don't have any additions or corrections for you.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Tim, second by Dave to approve the agenda as presented. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Invocation, Bethlehem United Methodist Church. Good evening.
Good evening. Let us pray. Most gracious and loving God, we thank you that you are a God of good governance. As the anniversary of events that happened over 2,000 years ago come to pass, we are reminded that they take place in a city that was ruled by a governor and by people who were following and taking place and making sure that all those rules and regulations were done in good order. And I thank you that dynamics continue to change and flourish because as a God of good governance, even in the very last book of your word, there is a city of God, and it is ruled by good governance. Lord, I ask that you continue to be here in this place, that you would bring your peace, that you would give us your wisdom, and allow us to see the good that you call us to be. I ask all these things in the name of Jesus Christ our Lord, and all of God's people said, Amen.
Thank you. Next, the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Recognition of gifts, donations, and community service to the city. Does anybody have anything tonight? All right, we have 3 resolutions underneath there, and I'm going to do them one at a time because I think it's just important to show that we have a lot of people in this town that donate money to the city. So we have resolution number 16007, resolution accepting $500 donation from the Hutchinson Huskies to the Hutchinson Police Department for the assistance during the state baseball tournament.
Make a motion to approve. Second.
Motion by Chad, second by Pat to approve. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion carries. Second resolution is 16008, resolution accepting $500 donation from the Hutchinson Huskies to the Hutchinson Fire Department for assistance during the state baseball tournament.
Motion to approve 16008.
Second.
Motion by Pat, second by Dave to approve. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion carries. We have resolution number 16009, resolution accepting $6,200 donation from the VFW Post 906 for new American flags and flagpoles on Main Street.
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion by Tim, second by Chad to approve. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion carries. Public comment, citizens addressing the council, just please come forward and state your name and address for the record. Alrighty, we have approval of minutes. We have the regular meeting minutes of March 10th, 2026.
Make a motion to approve them. Second.
Chad, second by Pat to approve the minutes as presented. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion carries. Consent agenda. This will be done with one motion unless somebody pulls something off for discussion. A, we have approval of consulting services for the 2026 compensation study. B is approval of issuing massage license to Mandy Thody for Heaven Massage and Wellness located at 35 Main Street North. C is approval of resolution number 16010, resolution adopting finding of facts and reason for approval of final plat for North Maple Apartments with favorable planning commission recommendation. D is approval of items for the sewer lining project. That's letting number 5, project number 26-05. And underneath there we have two resolutions. We have resolution number 16015, resolution ordering preparation for a report on improvements, and resolution number 16016, resolution receiving report and calling for a hearing on improvements. E is approval of resolution number 16017, resolution supporting the pursuit of a Minnesota Environmental and Natural Resource Trust Fund grant for funding of the Otter and Campbell Lake Accessibility Recreational Opportunity Project. We have F is appointment of Jeremy Crosby to the Hutchinson Utilities Commission until December of 2030, and reappointment of Priscilla Rausch to the Senior Advisory Board till January of 2029. And G is claims, appropriation, and contract payments. Is there anything anybody wants pulled off?
No.
Motion to approve consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion by Pat, second by Chad to approve consent agenda. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. We have the public hearing, assessment hearing and project award for Hamilton Avenue Southeast, letting number 1, project number 26-01. We have a resolution underneath there is resolution number 16011, resolution adopting assessments, and resolution number 16012, resolution accepting bid and awarding contract. Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm Brandon Braithwaite, the city engineer. You'll see me twice here tonight for both of these lettings. Letting number 1 is Edmonton Avenue, and this is basically by the Quick Trip headed east to Jefferson Street. Ultimately, we're looking for 2 resolutions tonight, adopting the assessment and accepting the bid and awarding contract, and I'll be here to answer questions during the hearing. Like I said, just after the, I said Quick Trip, I apologize. Just after the Culvers to Jefferson Street is the project limits. And this will be a full depth reclamation, so kind of milling the existing asphalt pavement. A few spot repairs on the curb and gutter, a few spot repairs on the sidewalk, but we will be reclaiming or milling the existing trail on the north side of the street and repaving that trail as well. All new pavement markings and landscape restorations. So reclamation, the machine here on the left, it's basically in process milling that basically turns an asphalt road into gravel, just kind of grinds it up in place. We'll use that same gravel as use that same asphalt as a gravel base to fill in and do our fine grading. And anything that's left, it gets taken to Creekside and then sold as a product. So project highlights, we will close the road during the project at both extents. Neighborhoods that are accessible from other directions off of Denver.
this intersection at Sherwood might be open at, if we can, depending on different staging events. The sidewalk improvements at the intersections will help improve ADA accessibility. We will do a few spot utility repairs. This is mostly to get the manhole elevations right for the future pavement. Like I said, we'll be repaving the trail. And we're trying a new product this year with the pavement markings that should be brighter at night. So this will be the first time we're using this paint product in Hutchinson. The engineer's estimate was $875. We did get 7 estimates on this project. The low bid was WM Mueller and Sons, about 15% under the engineer's estimate. So we're happy to see that. This is the total funding for the project. Assessments make up a very small portion of this project, only at 1%. This project was designed in-house and is mostly funded by municipal state aid. That is all the slides I have, and so I can answer questions during the hearing.
All right, council have any questions for Brandon? All right, we'll open it up for public comment. Please come forward and state your name and address for the record.
Public, this is the portion of the hearing where you're allowed to come up and address the council or staff regarding any aspects of this project. As the mayor noted, we just ask that you state your name and address for the record.
Hi, Candy Stoll, 365 Ottawa Avenue. That's the back of my house. And my question is, we still have irrigation going on. You know, we have our irrigation system going out to the curb. Will you be providing flags, or do we need to flag them? And what date do we need to be putting those out?
Yeah, so we're going to meet with the contractor here in April, and we're aiming to start construction. Sorry, I forgot to say it. During late May, and during that process, our surveyors will go out and do the go for one call ticket, and then we'll work with any of the adjoining property neighbors and locate all those utilities. So I have your information, and I wrote it down here, and we'll be in touch as we get closer to the project.
There are 4 that I know of that are close in my, down my little stretch. I don't know the rest of the stretch.
Yep.
Okay.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Chad, second by Pat to close the public hearing. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion carries. Entertain a motion for these 2 resolutions.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Tim, second by Dave to approve both resolutions. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion carries. Second public hearing, assessment hearings and project award for the 2026 street improvement projects. That's letting number 2, project number 26-02. And underneath there, we have 2 resolutions. We have resolution number 16013, resolution adopting assessments, and resolution number 16014, resolution accepting bids and awarding contract.
Mayor, ultimately I'll be asking for the same 2 items, these 2 resolutions, and we'll have a public hearing after my short presentation here, and I can answer questions. This is the second letting. We opened bids on February 19th. We have 3 project areas with this project. We have Boulder Street over by the high school, and Boulder Court with the cul-de-sac. We have Larson Street, and then conglomerations of streets in the neighborhood: Bradford, Randall, Sherwood, Elks, and Orchard. This is the same type of construction, so it's that that FDR, full depth reclamation, where we basically will mill the existing asphalt, turn it into gravel. It should be noted that these roads are also the contractor's access to the project, and so when the road is turned into gravel, the roads will stay open for use. The contractor will be hauling their materials in and out, but that will allow access to your driveways during the vast majority of the project. There may be some concrete curb repairs that may limit access to your driveway, and we'll work with residents for parking overnight. We'll discourage parking overnight on the street, but we'll have a time where the majority of time driveways will be open to access. We are working with the post office to provide temporary mailboxes for this project. The contractor will provide. One other thing is this project has more water impacts because we're replacing a lot of water valves and hydrants. And so there will be times where we need to shut off segments of especially on the Bradford, Randall, Sherwood, Elks, and Orchard project. And so we'll get those notices out at least 48 hours in advance. And those water shut off times will be during the day. So we'll avoid kind of the morning rush and the evening rush, but there'll be times when we have to replace valves and hydrants. Again, a few spot repairs to curb and gutter. Removing a few trees that are tagged for ash, emerald ash borer. Ultimately, you'll get brand new asphalt restoration. Limited sidewalk. There's very little sidewalk on this project. So again, the picture showing the asphalt reclamation process. We are going a little bit deeper north of Century on Bradford and Sherwood Bradford and Randall because of softer soils. And so this is an example of going a little bit deeper and replacing. We can use some of those same reclaimed asphalt, and then we'll beef up that section with fabric and sub-grade improvements. So during that time, when we're a little bit deeper, the roadway will be more inaccessible, and that'll be maybe a week. So, like I said, partial road closures during specific events, otherwise mostly open. And the contractor is incentivized to keep it open because they need their access as well. Temporary mailbox locations, occasional water main disruptions. We are putting in all new perimeter edge drain, which will help keep the road drier in the future. And 4 more inches of asphalt over a solidified foundation, so we're expecting a better long-term performance from this project. Bid results, engineer's estimate was call it 2.4 million, landing us kind of right in the middle of our 7 bids, and the same contractor as Edmonton, WN Miller and Sons, was about 11% lower than the engineer's estimate. And it's an advantage in this case to be working with the same contractor for both projects, and they can kind of gain some efficiencies hopefully. This project is not, there are no state aid designated roads on this, so no state aid funding, but it's funded with a mixture of stormwater funds, water funds, wastewater funds, because we're doing some of those utility spot repairs. And funded with 25% of assessments because of all the different residences and an opportunity to really kind of upgrade the street and probably, get us for the next 40, 50 years. So overall, about a $2.5 million project. And that is the end of my presentation. I will go back to the overview page there.
Brandon, you noted the behind the edge drain residents that maybe have sump pumps. Should they be in contact with you guys about hooking up to those?
Yeah, that's a secondary benefit of having the new edge drains. And so residences in the project area that have sump pumps can connect to the edge drain, and the edge drain will be installed. In this case, since we're not really changing the curb and gutter. It'll be installed just on the inside of the street by the curb and gutter, but that would be a good opportunity to connect. We'll provide stubs under the curb to each residence for future connection, but if they're interested during this project, it'd be a good time to connect their sump pumps to get it, the drain underground. Otherwise, they can always connect in the future. And we do have a small permit process for that, mostly to know where we have existing connections.
And then maybe for residents that aren't familiar, how do we make decisions on when we replace the water sewer lines? The previous project we didn't, and some of this that we do, how do we go about making those decisions?
Yeah, so it's age and condition, and basically what we have in the vicinity. So in Edmonton, overall that project was installed about 20 some years ago. We assessed the valves are in good working order and pretty good condition besides some of the top manhole. We went out and inspected every manhole. Same with this project, went out and inspected every manhole, tried turning every valve. The hydrants are older, so they're kind of more towards that 40-year range. We figured now is the time to just wholesale replace all the valves. We can have confidence going with it in the future and not have to tear up the street. Inspected every catch basin. We took soil borings along this project, so we feel pretty confident in what we have and what we can repair. And then there's always new technologies coming out to make pipe improvements, either by robotics or without having to tear up the street in the future.
Thank you.
Brandon, just for the public's information, when you say inspect, so you guys run a camera down, correct?
Yes.
That's how you inspect it, so
Right, and
it is from manhole to manhole.
Right. Yep, and it is part of our project we will camera the project and require the contractor to camera it after the project as well, just make sure there wasn't any damage during construction.
All right, is there any questions from the council? No. All right, I'll open it up for public comment. Again, this is your time to come forward. Just state your name and address, and if you have any comments on this project.
Hi, Candy Stowell again, 365 Ottawa Avenue, southeast. And my question is, how long is this going to take for this project on Edmonton? And probably the other people are wanting to know the other area. And you said there's multiple, right? They're going to have the same one doing the same multiple. Is that going to make it take longer?
We hope having the same contractor in this case can actually gain some efficiencies and speed up. Edmonton, we hope to get a jump start on that project in May. The bus does use that road, so we would have to coordinate that with the bus company. And that might be enough to hold it off until after school's in session. This area, we can also have that same conversation, and we're meeting with the contractor in April and kind of learn more about how they're going to, kind of their staging operations. But the vast majority of the work will be after school is out, so that we can, avoid those busing conflicts. All these projects will wrap up late summer before school starts in September for busing. So call it early to mid-August.
Okay, thank you.
Are you starting them all at the same time then?
Well, that's a little bit up to the contractor, but in general, we'll start them all in late spring, so May, June timeframe.
Will the information we got on the assessment that we're gonna have, is that what the assessment will be for us? Gonna change or what?
Yeah, so the assessments were calculated before the project, and we bid the project out. Luckily, the bids came in a little bit lower than we were expecting, which is overall good for the city. But the assessment rates are set based on parcel information and frontages, so that has been set. Yep, so that won't change at this point.
They're set what they are. Okay, thank you.
Can we have your name, sir? Thank you. All right, anyone else?
I'm Marcia Volkanet. I live on Randall Road. I live on the one horse side. The prices and stuff I'm concerned about being able to pay for one thing. I'm sure everybody is. But the street, the water drain on my side, I have none. So if you're going to be doing the street, I want it too. The drain goes. There's no drain on my side of the street until you get down to Century. And there's always, the other side's good, but my side is not. That's one of the things that bothers me. And I wanted to know, payment-wise, can we break down the payments? Is there a no interest way? Is there a?
So I can talk a little bit better on the water side, and then I'll make sure I get the payment side correct. But on the water side, we are intending to install edge drain on the project. And if I go to this picture, is kind of a good representation. So you're on the north side. We'll cut down a couple of feet, and then we'll install 4-inch perforated pipe to kind of collect that kind of the underground water, and then those are the access points that we will sneak under to each property to connect future sump pumps to as well. It makes a big difference, and we're kind of putting that standard in all of our street reconstruction projects because it just keeps, it's a way for that underground water to kind of just seep and keep the road base dry. And then related to your assessments, I believe, so I know there's a lump sum option, and then there's also there's also sorry, what's the word I'm looking at?
Tax assessment.
Tax assessment option as far as, is it a 5-year?
10-year. I can walk you through that. So you have a couple different options. You can pay it all off up front. There'll be no interest charges if you do that. Usually you'll receive a notice that says if you pay it by this date, there's no interest, and then it's paid off of that. You have the option otherwise to have it placed on your property taxes for a period of 10 years. And so that gets added to your yearly property tax statement, so a portion of that. So depending on whatever your dollar amount is, that would get spread out over 10 years with interest, and interest is usually prime plus 1%. So whatever the bonds would come out at, in the last couple of years, we've been in that 2.5% to 3.5% range. So you're probably looking 4 to 5 or 5.5% interest on that assessment based off of whatever the bonding rates are. And at any time during that, you can pay it off early if you want. You can use the whole life of the assessment to pay that. It's really up to you as a property owner and how you want to go about paying that. Like I said, if you don't pay it off, even if you pay, let's say you pay off a quarter of it before it gets to the assessment roll, the remaining amount then gets assessed over that 10-year period of time on that property.
Okay, because I know it was like, I forgot how I was going to say it. You could pay half, but you had a date.
Yep, I think it's usually November, middle of November.
November 17th this year.
Usually by November 17th, somewhere in that.
Projects will be done before we have it. If we decide to pay it full, the projects will be done before we make the full payment.
Correct.
Okay.
Well,
Okay.
as long as you guys can tell me we're not going to have like 5 months of rain or something like that during the summer. But no, we usually, I mean, the only thing that delays it is weather. But if we're not done by the middle of November, we've got problems. So that would be the only thing that would cause it not to be done by that time. But I've been here now 11 years, and we've never not been done with a project by the middle of November. So
Okay. Thank you.
mm-hmm.
Anyone else?
This is my first meeting here. Hello, gentlemen, Mayor. My name is Lisa Rund. I live on 1229 Bradford Street, and my question is, point blankly, I've been paying property taxes the whole time I've been here, of course. Why do we have to have that price at all? why can't it be incorporated into our property taxes? I don't know if that's a question that maybe somebody's got in their mind out there in the audience and doesn't have the guts to come up here, but speaking for you.
No, that's a very fair question, and that is, I'll give you a couple different answers. One, it's a policy decision by the city council. Now, this city has made it a policy, and it has been for years, that we are going to assess a portion of a street project back against the direct benefiting property owners. So in this case, it's 25%, and then the rest of the taxpayers pick up 75% of those costs. Now, that's a policy decision that's made by the council. That's one aspect of it. Second of it, for funding purposes, to get a better funding option, so when we borrow money to do road improvements, the bonding companies require for a better interest rate that you assess a portion of the project. Now, there's ways that we can go about it and not assess it, and some communities do that. They don't assess street projects, and they put it all on the tax levy. As you can imagine, then that just increases their overall general levy. And so I would say probably most cities do special assessments, but not necessarily all of them. And that's really just a policy decision that comes down to the elected officials.
Okay.
That say we want the direct benefiting properties to pay a portion of this, with the rest of the taxpayers covering the majority of it, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, I understand a lot better now. Thank you.
yeah.
No problem.
Thank you.
Thank you for asking the question. That's
Yep.
a
Thanks.
fair question. So,
Anyone else?
Hi, my name's Cindy Remus, and I live at 110 Orchard Avenue Southeast, and my only question is, we usually do a huge family get-together the second weekend of August. If this runs late, we have like 50-some people that show up for parking. What do we?
Gary Forcier, mayor, would host your.
He's got a great spot down by the river.
Sorry.
But I guess that's, would we contact the city if it's running late, or how would?
So each of these projects are gonna have a full-time city inspector, and they're gonna be there vast majority of every day. And they're gonna they're gonna get to know you, and you can get to know them. Actually, the inspector on this project lives in the neighborhood as well. And so I think we'll have a pretty good sense of how things are going. There is always the weather that,
Right, yeah.
and then, usually, if things are going okay, the contractor doesn't work on weekends. That's one thing we're gonna learn. If they plan to work on weekends, they may decide to work 4/10s or maybe partial days on Friday. We hope to open up the streets for the weekends. There may be some construction equipment or some material staging that we can have, kind of packed away in a safe manner. But we aim to have all trenches filled in every night and have the roadways open on the weekends. So I guess what I can safely say now is we're aiming for completion and get to know the inspector, and he'll have a pretty good sense on how things are going. And then, we do have our contractual dates, and then there are penalties if the contractor goes past those contractual dates. There's liquidated damages. So the contractor has every incentive to finish on time.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Anyone else?
Hi, Eileen Whitman. I live on Old Bradford. And it sounds like you're going very deep on Old Bradford. So I'm concerned that, is that project going to be like all the way from May to September? Because if you're going that deep, there's no way to get into the garages, and I'm sure parking is going to be not available.
Yeah, so during this process of the subgrade improvements, access to driveways will be closed because we do have to go deeper. That whole process goes pretty quick, and as we dig down, the pictures show kind of fabric and reinforcements and then filling back up. I hope about a week. Unfortunately, the project last year, we got a bunch of rain kind of when it was exposed. We had to give it time to dry out. But like I said, besides that cut, the majority of the time, I think the road will be accessible.
So Brent, usually when you dig down, that's usually about a week-long process.
That's what
It's
I'm
not gonna be,
kinda
it's not gonna be
aiming for,
3 months barring any
Right.
catastrophes.
Right. So of the whole project, let's say it's a 3 or 4 month project, a week or two where we have to make that cut and fill back in.
And now in there it says it's a partial curb,
So yeah, very limited curb and gutter replacements. So there may be a spot where there's a significant curb crack in front of a driveway where we need to remove that. We'll re-pour that, which would make that particular driveway inaccessible for maybe up to a week while the concrete cures. But then there's going to be other areas where, driveways would be open. It just happens to be if repairs, land in front of a driveway. But the majority, I would say probably 90% of the curb and gutter on this project are going to remain. We're just taking out some problem areas.
so it's gonna be hit and miss.
Hit and miss, yeah.
So how much of the driveway part are you gonna replace?
We have it designed on each property. If we don't have to go in the driveway, we won't. But if there's curb improvements on a driveway, we'll go back a little bit farther and make sure we get everything that needs to. So again, with the inspector, it's too much detail getting into that, but we have that kind of design driveway by driveway.
So what is the measurement from curb in, how much of that belongs to the city?
The full curb.
I think they're talking with the right of way, Brad.
Towards the properties.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. We don't need to tear up and replace what doesn't need replacement. But now would be the time. So we'll err on the side of replacement if we think it should
On
be.
the tree replacement, you said only the ash. What about the older trees?
I believe there were some trees removed last year, and there's some stumps that have to be ground down yet. And then removing some of the ash, that will be full removal down to ground. And then we'll work with the contractor does not have any tree replacements in his contract, but we'll work with our arborist to fill in. And I know they have their eyes on some spots, especially Boulder Street, for example. That's a good example that could use some more trees.
So Brian, if they had any specific questions on a specific tree, they could call the arborist.
Yeah, I think that'd be because I think we want to see how the utilities go and what we learn and make sure we have the, utilities in a good spot, and then we know where would be the best place to plant a tree after that.
Brandon, correct me if I'm wrong, last year on Dale Street, didn't we authorize to go later in the evening because of the rain and to get that project finished quicker?
Yeah, we've had to do that from time to time when weather becomes a problem. We've, authorized the contractor to go later in the day and even work Saturdays. Hopefully it's a nice Minnesota summer. If it rains at the right time. So, but yeah, we've made adjustments in the past when we've had to.
And notified the residents that were affected too, so
Yeah.
all of a sudden just didn't happen at 6 o'clock in the morning or something.
Right. Yeah. We right now in our contract, there's no work on Saturdays or Sundays unless they seek permission. I think by Wednesday. So some of that's kind of judging on the forecast, but it's also judging kind of on momentum and is it really necessary? And they don't want to work weekends if they don't have to.
One more question?
For the 2 weeks that the street is going to be in depth, what is the plan? I mean, I'm sure you have forecasted. What locations have you chosen for us to park?
That is a good question. I can get that to you specifically. I would assume just farther in the neighborhood. the next street over and around, we are doing some temporary mailbox locations as well. So I can get back to that specifically. There's not necessarily any designated parking, but because this would be street parking that this is affecting, and also your access to your driveways. There would be street parking available, and on other streets. So there's not a designated spot right now.
So we just randomly park anywhere in the neighborhood where there's a spot?
That would be allowed. Yeah.
Not that many streets.
Yeah, we'll work with you, and the contractor is not going to tear up everything. The contractor can only, for lack of a better term, bite off and chew what they can, and so they have no incentive to tear this up and then leave it, because it's also their access, and so they need to, if they're going to work in an area, they're incentivized to restore that area.
Anyone else?
Mary.
Curling back, 1105 Bradford. So it's the corner of Bradford and Randall. I'm just curious, you talk about moving our mailboxes. What are we supposed to do on garbage day?
Yeah, so it's in the contractor's contract to handle carts.
Okay.
And like we did last year on Dale Street and others where we have the road closed like this, we'll work with the garbage collection and the contractor, and they'll be in charge of that, and then they'll re-deliver those to your driveways each, on that next day. So that's just the easiest way we found to do it. Is just they're going to be there. If it happens to be a rainy day that they wouldn't work otherwise, they're still obligated to collect the garbage cans and take them back to the residences.
So it's probably the one time you have a valet service from the city with your garbage.
With our garbages?
Yes.
So I just put them out and the city deals with it?
The contractor
The
will take care of
contractor
it,
is
yes.
part of their
Okay.
contract.
All right. And then also.
All except yours, Jenny. 'Cause
Oh, thanks, Gary. My other question is, so my neighbor across the street on Bradford and I both have been having water pressure issues since the water main was fixed. Is that, you talk about water as well, is that going to be maybe assessed at all?
The assessments have been set for this project, but that's something we can look at. So, there could be something that we're unaware of, some repair that needs to be made.
Yeah.
So, I have your information and can follow up, and our inspector will be very interested if we can make improvements. If it's a pressure related issue.
Okay. And then lastly, how do we get in contact with the person to put the sump pump underground?
So we have a permitting process, and we have instructions on our website. But it's a permit to apply online. That way we have your information where this connection is going to be made, and then we'll just come out and take a look at it. It'll probably be the same inspector, and make a look at it, kind of discuss the route that you want to go. Ultimately, any work on your property would be on your you're able to work with any contractor or do it yourself. But then if you were to make the connection as part of this project, we can coordinate all that with the project.
Okay. Thank
Otherwise, it could be done afterwards or in the future too.
you. Okay. Thanks.
I got one other question. Hard to walk up there.
That's fine.
I have, coming out of my front gutters, they go down into the drain underground, and they go out right behind the curb, a pop-up valve. Will that be affected at all, or?
That should not be affected. Normally, the pop-up valves we keep on private property, and we don't encourage and we don't allow roof drains to connect directly to the underground storm sewer system. We want that to disperse on property and infiltrate.
So if it goes to pop-up, that's where the storm sewer.
It doesn't currently, no, and we wouldn't want it to in the future, but I would like the inspector to coordinate with you so that they know where that pop-up drain is and they can help protect it.
Okay, so I think it's pretty dangerous, the water from the sewer stuff.
Sure, yeah, and we'll protect anything we can, and there's vast majority of the work is going to be inside the curb, And I assume the pop-up valve would be, 10 to 12 feet behind that.
The thing that I don't understand is that, okay, you got a pop-up valve, it shoots the water up above ground, right by the curb, and then it goes into the curb, it goes down to the storm sewer. So why can't that valve be hooked right into the storm sewer?
It's the amount of water. So, during large rain events, all the roofs collecting downspouts, just that deluge connecting right to the city infrastructure, whatever we can do to slow that down. And it's the difference between kind of public water and private water, so to speak.
One house isn't a problem. The problem is if we allow one house, now we have to allow every house, and then it oversurges the system.
Well, I understand that.
Sure.
Anyone else?
Betty Brandt, 1259 Bradford Street Southeast. And I have a question. Nuvera has just been putting in all kinds of optics and good things there. Some of them are fairly close to the edges where you're going to be working. What's the procedure if one of those lines get cut?
So ultimately, they seek permission from us to use our right-of-way. And so they have every incentive to explain to us where their lines are, and we have every incentive to try to protect them. That being said, it is the city's right-of-way. So if there's times where they need to disconnect or reroute, that's ultimately their private service. And so so we'll work with them in those coordinations. Sometimes it happens on accident. Sometimes, things aren't marked and get struck and disconnected, but it's a heck of a lot easier when we know where things are, and because they're recently installed, they should know exactly where they are. And like I said, they're incentivized to protect.
Thank you.
Yep. Anyone else? Going once, going twice.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Motion by Todd, second by Pat to close the public hearing. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Both say nay. Motion carries. All right, moving on, we have the economic.
No, Gary, you still.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yep. Trying to move it along a little bit. We have those two resolutions.
I'll make a motion to approve both those resolutions, 16013 and 16014.
Second.
Motion by Tim, second by Dave to approve both resolutions. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion carries. All right, now it's Miles' turn. Economic Development Authority Year-End Report.
Miles, brevity, please.
Please no.
No, he's not. But he won't be there now.
I was gonna say, boy, Miles, you really know how to clear a room, so.
What's that? I know, I was gonna say that, and I thought, boy, I shouldn't say that.
I can't believe the crowd didn't want to stick around for your report.
I mean, this is the best part. I mean,
Wondering if I could-
come on. Cool stuff. Mr. Mayor, members of the council, for the benefit
Just
of
a
everyone.
second, Miles. If you guys could go out into the lobby, please, so we can hear our report. Thank you very much.
Okay. My name is Miles Seppel. I'm the Economic Development Director for the city. So I have for the council and for everyone watching our annual report for the Hutchinson EDA for 2025. First, I want to kind of cover a little bit our mission, vision, and our values, because that will help kind of understand why we do what we're doing. So, I mean, our mission at the Hutchinson Economic Development Authority is to facilitate redevelopment, and really that's downtown. That's our big focus is downtown. And then job creation, and then the success of manufacturing in our community. So that's why we exist. What's our vision? That's what does success look like? So the vision is that Hutchinson will have a vibrant, attractive downtown, be a thriving center for precision high-tech manufacturing, and be recognized as Minnesota's leader in innovative, project-oriented economic development. So that's what we think success is. And then our values, in other words, what's important to us. One is just commitment to excellence. Number two is collaboration with other entities to achieve our goals, integrity, and good communication in our relationships. We want to be innovative and creative in how we do our work. And then finally, we just want to deliver the results. Yeah, I'll just say that. One question that comes up, and I wanted to kind of circle back, we kind of put a lot of focus on manufacturing, and that's not to say that we exclude any type of business. We support all kinds of businesses. It's just that our emphasis is probably more on manufacturing, and the overriding reason there is that the manufacturing slice of our economy, that's what provides the highest weekly wages. That's where people can get paid the most. So we think as long as we can help promote manufacturing, that will automatically help all the other types of businesses that are out there. So that's the reason for our focus there. So, and then just real quick, we have a 7-member board of directors, of which there are 2 city council members, Chad and Pat, and then also Jeremy Carter, the manager of Hutchinson Utilities, sits in on those meetings as well. And then we're helped along by what's called the EDA finance team. That's 7 members, business people, bankers, and so forth. So that's kind of the group that kind of steers our efforts. So, as I mentioned previously, big chunk of our effort is downtown, and particularly these last couple years, probably more emphasis on downtown, just big projects. And so the biggest one by far is the landing, which you guys are well familiar with. This was a project that we've been working on for years and years and years, started in 2015, and it was just an incredible process to get to where we are today. So the EDA was involved in every step of that, from the initial property acquisition. We had to do some grant writing, we had to buy 5 houses, we had to find a developer. Original developer bailed out on us, so then we had to find another developer. We had to put together a package of financial assistance to make the project work, put together the development agreement. It was a lot. And so luckily we finally, after years and years of effort, got to the finish line. Now the landing is under construction, 81 market rate apartments getting built. Big need for that in our community because we have a tremendous shortage of housing. So this is going to go a long way toward helping meet that need. And then it's also going to provide a big boost to the downtown, because if you have 81 apartments, you figure 1.5 people per apartment, that's going to be 120, 130, 140 people living right in the downtown. And they're going to be walking up and down the sidewalks. They're going to be going to get a pizza. They're going to be looking for an ice cream cone. They're going to want to go to the movies. They're going to want to go to the park and enjoy the music. So it's going to bring a lot of activity to our downtown. So big win for the city of Hutchinson, and one that I personally am very happy we finally got it to the finish line. The other big project in 2025 was the Hotel Jorgensen. So this one has been going for, I think we've been trying to get this redeveloped for 40 years. I mean, I myself have seen several proposals for how it might get redeveloped, and then none of those came to fruition because it's just super challenging project. And so the EDA involvement in this one in 2025, and actually kind of predating that a little bit, we're the ones that recruited the developer for this project. We had to lend a hand and help bring the Cook Jewelry building into this project, and then we had a ton of work to do to negotiate the public assistance to make the project work. Had to do some grant writing to get a grant to help with the demolition of this thing. Just about 1,000,001 steps on this one as well. So finally, I'm at the finish line on that one. And right now, this one is scheduled for demolition. Both Cook Jewelry Building and the Jorgensen scheduled for demolition probably second half of April is what I want to say. The main holdup right now is that the contractors, they got to get an excavator with a really long arm so it can reach up to the top and start taking the building down from the top. And there's not a lot of those machines around, so you got to kind of get in line and wait your turn. So that should be coming in here in a couple weeks. There will be some street closures. Washington Avenue will be closed for a period of time on the east end, and then the parking lane in front of the hotel, and then I think the first lane of Highway 15 will be closed on the west side. So that'll be coned, and then there'll be kind of a traffic movement. People have to jog over a line as they're going up and down Highway 15. So, big project. Once demolition begins, what I've been told, I think it's going to be probably 4, 5, 6 weeks. It'll be quite a process. So, and then my understanding is, at least initially, this will probably just get made into a little pocket park, and then it might be a year or two before construction of the new hotel begins. But I haven't talked with the developer lately, so I'm not totally sure what the timeline is. Biggest thing is that this one has been one that we've been trying to do something with for years and years and years, and now we finally made it. Let's see once. Yeah, I think I already talked about that, April demolition. Another one that we're kind of working on, this one's kind of more in the planning and brainstorming phase, is just to create a downtown event space. So we're looking at First Avenue Southeast next to Library Square, between Library Square and 101 Park Place. And the idea is to create sort of a pedestrian-friendly gathering place for community events. So basically, we're just kind of trying to figure out the feasibility of this, lay out a general idea of what it might look like, and get the schematic design figured out and stuff like that. So what we're looking at is this type of a thing where we would put in new light poles and then have lights going back and forth across the street. And that, again, is to just make a community gathering place for pedestrians and so forth. So not sure of the timing of this. We're just kind of in the planning and formulating stage. A lot of steps yet to do, but we're moving down this path. Another project for the downtown is we're looking at new signage so that the downtown parking lots can be better identified. We have we're super blessed with a lot of good parking downtown. It's just that I think not everybody is able to find it easily, particularly if you're just visiting Hutchinson. So we want to get new signage in place that will make this much more obvious. Planning and design work is completed in 2025. Probably look at implementing this next year, I think. EDA was pretty involved in helping reinvigorate the Hutchinson Downtown Association. I think that's all I'm going to say about that. We also worked with the Chamber and Citizens Bank to implement a new smartphone app, community smartphone app, Much and Hutch. And this is basically the one-stop shop for everything Hutchinson. So you can go to this one app on your smartphone, find out about events, find out when restaurants are open, probably look at their menu, see what the special is, where can I go shopping, where can I stay, what events are going on. It's really everything Hutchinson in one smartphone app. So we want to encourage everybody to go to the App Store. It's a free app. They can download it, just search for Much and Hutch, and you can download it. So pretty nifty thing. So the EDA was involved. We obtained a $10,000 grant to help fund this thing, and then we're going to be providing ongoing support to help it maintain here over the years to come. And then also the EDA has a number of grant and loan programs. Our goal is just to keep constantly investing and reinvesting in downtown. So for the year 2025, we awarded 6 sign and awning grants over $10,000. We did 5 facade improvement matching grants. That was over $27,000. And then we also okayed 2 commercial rehabilitation loans totaling $97,000. So we're constantly investing in downtown, always seeking to make it better. That's most of the downtown stuff. Childcare is a major issue in our community, and according to the information that we have, we still have a need for more than 300 childcare slots in our community that do not exist. So it's kind of all hands on deck here to do everything we can to create as many childcare slots as we can. So one project in 2025 was to partner with Guiding Light Early Learning Center. there was a child care center there that had been there for some time, and then it closed, and then the project was basically to get it reopened. And so they approached the EDA and they said, basically, well, we need $80,000 to make this happen. Can you help us? So that's what we do. So we were able to pull together the 80 grand needed. Big chunk of that came from the state of Minnesota when we got a $40,000 grant from the Department of Employment and Economic Development. So Guiding Light is open today. We added 42 child care slots in one swoop, and so we're very happy about that. That was a good project. And then the other thing that we do is that the Economic Development Authority, we have our own grant to help people start new child care businesses, if it's in their house or whatever. But basically the way it works is that if a new child care center or a new family child care a new family child care business gets opened, or if it's a center, either way, we can provide a grant of $225 per slot created. And that's just to help offset some of the costs. It costs a lot of money to set up your house to do childcare. So if we can take some edge off of that and make that a little bit more doable, that's what we want to do. So in 2025, we awarded 4 grants to that effect, totaling a little bit more than $16,000. And then the other slice of what we do is, we kind of promote the development of manufacturing. So probably the 2 big activities in 2025 was just our business retention and expansion program. So I personally go out and visit our local manufacturers, just kind of check in. It's really 3 things. It's communicate our appreciation, that we're glad that they're here and we're happy for all the things that they do for our community. We want to identify any challenges the company has so that we can work on that stuff, and then do anything we can to help facilitate growth. So that's the 3 goals of the program. So 2025, we visited 10 companies. And overall, I think our local economy is doing good. Companies are doing good. Most of them are on an upward trend. The biggest concern is always shortage of workforce. We just don't have enough workers to fill the slots, to fill the jobs that we have. On any given day, we need 100 to 150 more people to take these jobs. And then the other economic development tool in the manufacturing side is just the Enterprise Center. So there, the goal is to help launch startup, early stage manufacturing companies. We do that by putting them into a very low cost environment and then putting a lot of education to help them come up the curve with their business acumen. So 2025, we recruited a new company. It was a new startup. It was a group of PhD guys from the University of Minnesota. They have developed a new polymer, which other companies will use to make plastics. The cool thing about it is that this is all totally biodegradable. And this is a real problem in our society now, is with microplastics lingering in our environment. And so these guys might have the answer to that. So they're busy setting this up now, and they'll be going into production here probably in the next couple months. And we'll see how this goes. It could be a huge thing. And then another company, GVL Medical, they graduated. They were in the incubator for some number of years, finally hit their stride after a lot of hard work, but finally made it. They graduated. We were not able to keep them in Hutchinson. It's a free country. They had to go to Plymouth, and they had to be closer to their customers. And what it was is that they did laser engraving and marking, a lot of medical device stuff, and they have clean rooms and lasers and all kinds of stuff. And it was the type of thing that the customers are going to want to see that before they sign a contract and say, okay, you can mark our stuff. And so, okay, that makes sense. So company ultimately moved to Plymouth. That's okay. We can't expect to win them all. That's just part of the deal. We're on the very verge of landing the next company, so stay tuned for that. Other than that, I think the only other thing we did at the Enterprise Center is that now we got a grant and a solar project is initiated, so we're going to increase our renewable energy usage at the Enterprise Center. Workforce is a huge issue for us, workforce development, and so we're constantly involved with Tiger Path, doing a lot of stuff with our high schools. one of our latest little gambits is our women workforce intern. The goal is just an internship. We hire an intern, and it's a young lady at the high school student, and the goal is for her to learn about leaders, being a leader, because we want to get more women into leadership positions just across the whole system. We want to connect her to other female leaders so that she can learn and be inspired, hopefully. She works as Tiger Path ambassador, represents Tiger Path at the high school, and represents Hutchinson. And then her other thing was to recruit young ladies to take classes, technical education classes at the high school. Because we're thinking about Rosie the Riveter, World War II. Women built all the airplanes, right? They can do manufacturing. And we need all the workers that we can get. So Lauren was our intern last year. She did a fabulous job. She recruited a whole bunch of her friends to take welding classes and tech ed classes. I can say very confidently that Hutchinson has more young ladies taking these classes than any other high school in Minnesota. That's not even all of them. The picture is not even all of them. We couldn't round them all up. There were so many of them. So a lot of young ladies doing this, so super fun project that was. And then marketing, of course, we do that through our website. We do some social media. We work through our partners like the Southwest Initiative Foundation and so forth. And key challenges, like I said, workforce is number one challenge that we have. We just need more workers. And unhappily, I think this problem is going to get worse before it gets better. Shortage of childcare slots. We need at least 300 more childcare slots in our community. And then not enough housing, just kind of system-wide. So those are the things that we will keep working on. Going forward, we're going to continue with our business retention and expansion program. That's our number one source of new job creation, is help our existing companies grow. We're going to keep pushing hard on downtown redevelopment. I think we have a fantastic downtown. We can always make it better, and that's the goal. We're going to be recruiting for the industrial park, and in particular, we've got some square footage available at the Enterprise Center, so we want to get that filled up. We're going to continue our support of Tiger Path and work on skilled workforce development in general. Continue pushing on child care business development. Do whatever we can to help facilitate housing development. It's not our main thing, but it's one of the things that we do. And then, of course, we'll do our marketing, and then grant writing is kind of standard thing. That's it. Any questions about anything?
Good job.
Okay.
Very thorough. Thanks, Miles.
Thank you.
All right, down to new business. First reading of ordinance number 26-873, ordinance vacating a portion of the easement located near 1011, 1021, and 1081 Golf Course Road Northwest.
Thank you, Mayor, Mr. Mayor, council members. Let me get to the drawing here. Just give me 1 second. Pull up the information here that I had in your packet so the folks at home can see this. And here we go. Get this back on.
You know, Dan thought Miles was bad, but you really cleared him out. This had to. Sorry.
Yeah. So, thank you, Gary.
No problem.
What we have here is easement vacation up on Golf Course Road. So we had this plat come through here a year and a half or so ago. Gus Wardell's been building some twin homes along here. What they found is that when they originally platted this out, their dimensions weren't quite correct. So they're looking to vacate about 2 feet of this easement over here that we put in place to protect our sanitary sewer line that goes back in here. And engineering staff has reviewed that and believes that there's no effect on that line by moving the 2 feet of the vacation. And then similarly, down on this end, because of the way the road kind of curves here and everything's kind of dimensions based on the road, This little corner here, the house would go over that little piece, and then likewise over here, just a small, like 6 inches or so. So what we're doing is requesting that we clean those easements up, so that the homes can be built as they're planned. And we've looked at the utility piece with small utilities, internet, electric, such. It's not going to be affected, and then as drainage as well. So staff is recommending that we go ahead and approve the first reading of the vacation of easements for this one. Any questions?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Chad, second by Tim to approve. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Will say nay. Motion carries. First reading of ordinance number 26-874, ordinance vacating a portion of the right-of-way located at near 240 4th Avenue Northeast.
See if we can get this ancient equipment to work. I didn't have this one electronically conveniently, so what we have here.
You turn the light on, Dan.
Here's the light. There we go.
Sometimes it helps, sometimes it doesn't.
I'll put it at an angle, you can see it. But, so this is 4th Avenue, goes past the old Sorensen's rental, now it's Ace Rental. High Street goes up to the north, to Highway 7. And then south of 4th Avenue, High Street was platted back through all the way when the city was originally platted. The north half, you see it on the map there back in 18 whatever. This right-of-way was never utilized for a street. And there are some electrical utilities in there. There's a sanitary sewer line in here. The person that bought this property, again, would be Gus Wardell, is looking at assembling some parcels here and potentially looking at a project in the future. And it would help if this right-of-way could be vacated. So what we're looking at here is vacating the right-of-way, protecting our existing infrastructure with easements, and that allows some space here that we don't need that theoretically could go towards private development. So staff is again recommending approval of this vacation of right-of-way.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Pat, second by Tim to approve. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion carries. Thanks, Dan. Setting council workshop on April 28th, 2026 to discuss city sales tax.
Mayor and council, one of our strategic plans was to go back and take a look at our sales tax as we are familiar with it. It's set to expire, I think, about halfway through 2027. And so there is some desire to potentially look at extending that or renewing that. And there's a lot of work that we need to do if that's something we want to do. And so this workshop is kind of really the kickoff to start discussion on that, at least at the council level, to gain some ideas on where we want to go with that. And so we'd ask that you look to set that before your second meeting in April at 4 o'clock.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Tim, second by Pat to approve. Any other discussion?
At 4 o'clock.
4 o'clock, yeah.
4 o'clock.
28th.
What time of the day?
Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Both say nay. Motion carries. Governance, we have the City of Hutchinson Financial Report and Investment Report for February of 2026. Planning Commission minutes from February 17th, 2026. Kelly, you got anything else for us tonight? Lynn, not yet? Brandon?
Nothing else.
Mike?
Just the one, Mr. Mayor, you had asked for me to speak to this. You had a resident recently reach out to you. They had received a mailing from a company offering to provide a kind of an insurance policy for their service line. And, well, the program's valid, the company itself is valid. It did prompt us to want to just remind residents so that we have a service line replacement program in the city for both water and sewer. So while a resident is certainly welcome to take part in this program, they've got a really good program within the city where we cover up to $7,500 per service line. So I'm thinking it's probably not needed, but I wanted to, I guess, just remind residents of that. So that's it.
Very good. Thanks, Mike. Mark?
Nothing tonight.
Matt?
Couple of reminders. First off, next Tuesday, 3 o'clock here in the council chambers, we're having our joint workshop with the county board. So we've got some agenda items that we'll discuss, but that's going to be right here in the council chambers next Tuesday. Was that the 31st at 3 o'clock? And then I did send out a reminder, heard back from a couple of you regarding that economic forum on April 7th. That's down at the county in Glencoe. And then for a couple of you, we have on April 9th, there is the sergeant's negotiations. That might get pushed back. I think the original time was 10 o'clock. Might be closer to 12:30. I'll let you know for sure. So otherwise, that's it.
On that county economic, who's planning to go to that?
Oh, Dave is.
Dave and.
That you expressed some. Did you want me to sign you up for that, or did you take care of that yourself?
I didn't. Well, when do I have to sign up? Probably pretty quick.
Yeah, I can do it. I'll take care of it for you.
Yeah, otherwise if you decide that you don't wanna go, then I'd like to go, but anyway, so. Dave, let's start with you today.
Well, that was good. I'm glad you are.
Yeah.
I'll get done sooner. We had Mid-Minnesota Development Commission, the RCC, which is the Rural Transportation Subcommittee, and still fighting for a lot of money, unfortunately. It's not as free as it was last few years, so they're still working on that. A lot of transportation is being, throughout the four-county area, is being developed along the line. Inspired Rides is one in Hutchinson. I see a couple other vehicles in Hutch that are foreign to me, but it doesn't mean that that's not okay. A lot of transportation is needed, and so working relatively hard on that. I don't think I'm doing anything physically, just okaying a lot of the stuff that the commission wants to do, or I wouldn't want to call them workers, but the staff that they're doing. So yeah, it's not good. I mean, it's especially when they cut the funding. Why everyone's there's 7 districts in the state, and some of them are bigger than ours, but on the other hand, they're all got their hands in the money to do things with. So states kind of hold us up a little bit. But, so that's about all I have. I didn't have anything better, more exciting than that. So.
All right, maybe I'll saving it up for next time. All right, Pat.
I had a bike and pedestrian meeting last week. One of the things that came up was, we've talked about this in council before, about some type of suggestions, signage, whatever, about in regards to the scooters and the e-bikes. The consensus is to educate people. The hard part is enforcing. If we would say speed limits, for instance, how do you? And we don't have an answer for that. One of the things we had talked about earlier last year even was at the locations that sell these, Chad sells them, and he would make them aware, but like a Walmart or a Runnings, if they have them, or, Dunham's, that we get some type of signage there that kind of lets the parents know that these things aren't toys, and they're appealing as heck to the young people, but I was telling Gary before the meeting, it was in town Saturday, and escapes from where we were, but there was a kid parked up alongside the sidewalk, and he had a scooter that looked nice. You could tell it wasn't a cheap one. And I said, how fast that goes? He goes, it'll go 22 easy. And he knew exactly what it would go, and if I was a kid, I'd want one of those. But how do we regulate, Main Street? Do we come up with a proposal that they're not allowed at all? And I don't think they are right now, but I mean, it's just tough to enforce it, you know, and I've had townsfolk say, you know, I don't want them on sidewalks at all, any sidewalks. That's pretty tough, you know, I mean, if you got a kid that's on one of those that's age appropriate and wants to be down the sidewalk and you're in residential,
Well,
I don't know. So we don't have an answer, but we just know that we do need to do something about that situation.
I unfortunately Chief Gifferson had to take off, but I did talk to Lynn and talk to you before, and I don't know. You know, when I was talking to Lynn, and she said you brought it up at your meeting. You know, I don't know. I think some kind of education. They used to have a bike rodeo, didn't they, Chad? Or
I mean, the city put it on for a long time ago, and the GCs did it, and it's gone away now.
They've abandoned it.
Is that something, Lynn, that maybe, you know, you could get because I'm, you know, what I'm worried about is that if we don't educate people, something bad's gonna happen, and I don't want that.
Yeah, for a long time, the Rotarians and then the JCs put on a big bike rodeo. The city had done it prior, and we participated with those organizations as well to do some education. And then, you know, with our Hutchinson community bike fleet that we do have in rotation, when it goes to the schools, there is a portion of that curriculum that talks about e-bikes as well. So there's a little bit of education happening there. But yes, at the Bike and Pedestrian Committee meeting, which Pat, myself, and Mike Sifter all attend those meetings, and we've been talking about different things. We did update the signage along Main Street to reflect that they're not allowed on Main Street per the city ordinance. So those signs have been updated. It's really hard to enforce, unfortunately, but there are signs there. And then, you know, this is a statewide problem. There's a lot of talks throughout our organization, through Minnesota Rec and Park Association, even going to the state legislatures for some changes with e-bikes and different things like that. So hopefully there will be more coming down from even the state. But education, yes, is really probably the biggest piece of it. May is always National Bike Month, so we do plan to put out some education during that time. And then I know the PD and also PRCE has posted things on social media to remind people of those rules, the guidelines, and the etiquette of e-bikes in Hutchinson.
You know,
But we always could do more.
I think one of my concerns, and this is maybe gets back to education from the parents that are buying these for kids, is that, as we've talked about, they're legal in Minnesota. My biggest concern is that most of them, and I'm a parent who's got kids at the same age, they're not following the rules of the road. And I think our biggest worry as a community, or at least as elected officials and staff, is I don't want to be sitting here with a tragedy. And that's where we really need the parents to help us out here, because, you know, I don't think there's a government answer to, like I said, we could double your taxes, we could put staff that are going to, you know, patrol the trails. But when they're going, you know, 20, 30 miles an hour and they're blowing stop signs and they're
not announcing coming from behind.
Well, and just, I mean, I don't know what we as a government can do, and that's really where the parents, I think, need to kind of step up and assist us in helping to regulate that throughout the community.
And you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. If we over police it, it's like, well, then people will be jumping all over us too. But if you just let it go, then I wish I had a better answer, but I do think maybe some speed limits some places. I don't know. I don't know. Chad, you have a better idea. I don't know how you police that. You know, tough. You know, they can do it so quick and be going so quick. And
I think it'd be really hard to police.
Yeah. I think along with Matt, that I stated before, I think the educational piece has to, I know, the bike and walk this, you know, I don't know, I almost would like to see us do a bike rodeo or something just to get that information out. Maybe you guys can.
I think we have to, like, the JCs, and you said the Rotary?
Yeah, the Rotary and the JCs used to partner together. I think they each kind of had it separately at one point, and then a couple of years they did it together, but they've now disbanded kind of that event. I know the JC's tried to pull it in with Water Carnival for the bike helmet giveaway, and then it became just that. It wasn't like an educational bike
Right.
event. It was just a giveaway for free
Did that a
helmets.
couple of years, and they gave helmets, and it started at 6 o'clock, and then we had a rodeo set up and everything, and we brought bikes from the
We did, yeah.
high school, and they got their helmets and they were gone. They didn't. There was no teaching at all. It was just a free helmet.
We can-
and that got prohibitive expensive wise. You know.
We could bring back the bike and blade bonanza around the rec center from when I was a kid.
From the late 90s. I was a seasonal at the Parks Department.
So you have your bike meets every month then?
We meet quarterly for the bike and ped.
So, but we have to get on. I think education's the first step, you know, and then. When if you said, you know, if there's
And I'll just say this, so a bike radio's not gonna address the scooter issue.
Right.
Those are two completely separate issues.
And that's where I would say the majority of those get bought at online or Walmart or, you know what I mean? Probably not Chad.
I'd say a lot of the population that comes to an event like that would be younger, anyways, and not the little kids aren't riding the e-bikes until they get a little bit older.
Mm-hmm.
But still, education can start for families early on. We can definitely push, especially in May when it's National Bike Month. We can definitely push an educational campaign on it.
Well, we'll have to expand it, Matt, bike and scooter.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's, I totally think that,
Class like they do driver's education.
you know, unfortunately, something's gonna happen and then,
For chickens.
but we should do something.
Unfortunately, though, I don't know that there is a government solution because there's kind of two types of people. People that are going to follow rules and those that don't. And I don't think we're going to reach the ones that aren't going to, you know, and it's nice to talk about, but people that are going to be jackwagons on e-scooters are still going to be jackwagons regardless if we don't want them to.
Yeah, right.
You know, and as far as Tim just mentioned something that, you know, maybe kids with the scooters need to have a permit and have a little educational thing. I mean, I know that's getting us involved way too much, but I mean, that would kind of force that issue.
Just like chickens.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, we've done it before with golf courts, you need to have a permit. And so it's not like, it's not unusual
And
for
those
us
can
to.
go faster than, the ones that can go 28, that's faster than most golf carts unless they've been modified. But I think, you know, we'll just keep on this as a council if we hear, you know, things of things or do a little bit of diving on our own.
If there's something specific you want the bike and pedestrian committee or staff to look into, we can definitely do that and keep working on it.
You know, this is the interesting thing, and you're right, Chad. I mean, I think we posted something last year on social media and we got blasted.
Yeah, that was earlier this year, yeah.
Yeah, for, you know, what's the city doing, get into this, and so that's the, like I said, I mean, right, that's something I think as council members need to think about. We can get into regulating scooters. Is that gonna be supported by the community?
I would doubt it. I really would doubt it.
My heart tells me that would be wildly unpopular.
Yeah. I don't think it's your heart. I think it's your common sense.
You know, but I mean, but Mayor, that gets to the point, you know, who are the people that are reaching out to you that are concerned with it? You know, and
for me,
what's the solution?
Mainly walkers that have contacted me.
Yeah.
And to follow up on Gary's comment, it's gonna take a disaster to make people wake up to. That's the unfortunate part.
I hope it
You're
doesn't.
trying to admit that, but, you know.
Well, I think, we got this one.
We're gonna see a
figured out, right?
ton more of it just because of the weather. It's that time of year. They're gonna be.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about getting one of those 40-horse scooters myself.
All right. Dad, what do you have?
I think it's
After this is beat up?
I think it's all been said. I didn't have anything to add.
Yeah. Well, that's about all I had, because, yeah, so, let's go home.
Motion approved, or motion to adjourn, and I approved it.
Okay. Motion by Pat, second by Chad to adjourn. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye. I was really speeding up.
Carried.